All right, let's get right into it. We all try to eat healthy, right? But what if some of the foods we've been told are good for us are actually fooling us? Today, we're going to break down the science behind 10 so-called health foods that might be doing more harm than good. And you'll definitely want to stick around because the number one food on this list is a real shocker.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. We're not talking about potato chips and candy bars. That's too easy. The most dangerous food we're going to talk about is something that people actively choose, thinking they're doing something great for their health. So, with that in mind, let's start the countdown.
Okay, here we go. We're kicking things off with numbers 10 down to 4. Think of these as the usual suspects, the troublemakers that are pretty bad, but they're really just the opening act for the top 3 offenders.
Coming in hot at number 10, flavored yogurts. You see them everywhere, and the packaging just screams probiotics and healthy gut, right? Well, here's the reality check. Most of them are so packed with sugar, they're basically a dessert in a cup. Seriously, the dairy itself isn't the villain. It's the mountain of sugar they add that completely cancels out the benefits.
At number 9, we've got those grab-and-go breakfast pastries. You know the ones. Muffins, croissants, all that stuff. Starting your day with one of these is like pouring gasoline on your metabolic fire. Why? Because they're built from a trio of refined flour, sugar, and industrial oils. They spike your blood sugar like crazy, which then leads to a crash, leaving you tired and hungry just a couple of hours later. It's a terrible way to set the tone for your day.
Oh, number 8, the classic protein bar. The promise is so good, isn't it? Fitness fuel, meal replacement. But the reality? For many of them, it's just a candy bar with some protein powder sprinkled in. They're loaded with syrups and weird processed ingredients. And the real sneaky part is psychological. We feel virtuous eating them, which makes it okay to have a candy bar-like thing every single day.
Okay, number 7, artificially sweetened drinks. Your diet sodas, your zero-calorie waters. You might think, hey, no sugar, no problem. But it's actually way more complicated. These sweeteners can seriously confuse your body. They trick your brain into expecting a sugar rush that never comes, which can mess with your appetite signals. Plus, they keep your cravings for intensely sweet things alive and well, making something like a simple piece of fruit taste boring.
Landing at number 6 is the whole low-fat trap. Remember when fat was the enemy? Well, when food companies took the fat out of products, they also took out the flavor and the thing that makes you feel full. The food tasted like cardboard. So to make it edible again, what did they add? A ton of sugar, refined starches, and a whole bunch of chemical gums and emulsifiers. You're not eating food anymore, you're eating a science project.
Now for number 5, industrial seed oils. And this one is all about a crazy imbalance. See, our bodies are designed to run on a roughly 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats, but the modern diet, thanks to these oils, has pushed that ratio up to a staggering 20-to-1. That is way off. This massive imbalance is a huge driver of chronic inflammation, and these oils are in almost every processed food because they're cheap. Cracking our top 4 is margarine. Man, this stuff was once hailed as the heart-healthy savior over butter. Turns out, it's one of the most chemically altered things you can find in a grocery store. They take liquid vegetable oil and blast it with hydrogen gas to make it solid. This process creates artificial trans fats, molecules that your body has no idea what to do with and are very strongly linked to heart disease.
All right, let's take a breath. We are now entering the top 3. These are the most dangerous offenders, mainly because they are so common. They're the culprits hiding in plain sight, the ones we eat all the time without a second thought.
At number 3, and this one trips up so many people, fruit juice. We think fruit, we think healthy. But think about it. A whole apple has fiber. That fiber acts like a brake, slowing down how fast the sugar hits your system. When you juice that apple, you strip out all the fiber. You've ripped out the brakes. What's left is basically liquid sugar that floods your liver and bloodstream just as fast as a soda. It's nature's candy, all right? But with all the safety features removed. Our runner-up at number 2 probably isn't a surprise, but its danger really can't be overstated. We're talking about sugary drinks. Sodas, sweet teas, those fancy coffee drinks, energy drinks, you name it. They are a direct mainline delivery system for pure sugar. And because they're liquid, they just fly right past your body's "I'm full" signals. You can down hundreds of empty calories and still be hungry, which is just a recipe for metabolic disaster.
And here we are, the top of the list. The single most dangerous health food, the one from that quote, the one that people proudly eat every single day. Any final guesses what it could be? The number 1 worst offender, according to the science, is refined grains and white flour products. I'm talking about white bread, pasta, crackers, bagels, most cereals, the very foundation of so many of our meals. And I know what you're thinking. How? How can bread be worse than pure liquid sugar?
Well, here's why. Its danger isn't in its immediate toxicity, it's in its ubiquity. It's everywhere. We eat it every day, often for every meal. It's the base ingredient for thousands of other processed foods. And during the refining process, it gets stripped of almost everything good, the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals, leaving behind pure starch. It doesn't hurt you in one big hit. It slowly, quietly erodes your health, meal by meal, all while seeming completely normal.
So when you look at this whole list, from the yogurt to the bread, what's the real connection? It's not just sugar, and it's not just the processing. There's a much deeper, more powerful principle at play that makes these foods so insidious.
And that principle is called normalization. This is the big takeaway. It's the process where something that's actually harmful becomes so familiar, so accepted, so baked into our daily routines that we stop seeing it as a threat. Our sense of urgency is just gone. The danger doesn't shout at you, it hides quietly in your daily habits.
This quote just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? The damage isn't dramatic, it's not sudden, it's a quiet, slow-motion process. A little bit of harm here, a little bit there, meal after meal, day after day, year after year, until one day it adds up to a very serious health problem. And just being aware of that process is the first, most powerful step you can take.
So as we wrap this up, the big question isn't just about what you learned today, it's about what you're going to do with it. Looking at this list, which one of these foods are you going to start rethinking in your own life? Because that's where the real change always begins.